909 in Studio is brought to you by 90.9 The Bridge in Kansas City. To find out how you can become a sustaining member or to donate, go to bridge909.org. I'm really excited to have the Shy Boys in. This has been a long time coming, and we should have had you in earlier. But we got you in now, and I'm really excited to do this session. Thanks for coming in.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.
The Shy Boys, the new album is Bell House. It's out on polyvinyl, which is really exciting. You've got national distribution on this thing and some a little muscle behind the release.
Very exciting. It's been kind of a dream come true to kind of get to play the music out around the country and have it in record stores all over the place.
You know, when bands come in, so much of the music that we play on the bridge isn't really purely one thing. And so then you get into that whole thing about describing music, which is just horrible. It's just a terrible exercise, right? And but you guys have really helped us out by providing a couple of phrases down through the years. Landlocked surf rock is one, but the one that I really like is the Beach Boys on Robitussin.
Yeah, a friend of ours in town coined that phrase, and I was like, that's it. That's our tagline forever now.
Yeah. So this is the second album for the Shy Boys, but you guys have been playing around town, all of you in different bands. And I was really kind of surprised that, you know, Colin, Kyle, your brothers, and was your first gig in the TD Pack Band?
How did you know that? Wow.
Basically.
I started playing at the Chiefs games when I was 17 years old. I was way not good enough to be playing those gigs, but I landed a gig through good old nepotism and did it for about 7 years, every home game, playing in the end zone, rain, sleet, snow, everything.
Yeah, how about you?
Yeah, I started when I was 17 or 18 also, and I did it for a few years, but I was playing sports in college, so I couldn't come back after that.
Yeah. Well, it gets you used to big crowds.
Yeah. 77,000 people's going to be the biggest crowd ever play to.
I think it's still more terrifying to play to 15 engaged people than 80,000 people who don't really care.
Yeah. So you go for was it you know, hearing Gary Glitter at Arrowhead all those years that led you to the Abracadabras, because you guys were in a glam band, right?
Yeah, I never really made that. Maybe that seeped in. Yeah, we were in a glam band about 10, 12 years ago now. I think we started called the Abracadabras, and yeah, I mean we were doing like the makeup and the feather boas and the glitter and.
We need pictures.
Oh, we have buried those pictures in a canister out in the middle of the desert somewhere.
I've talked to a lot of people who just have, you know, great memories and legendary shows of the Abracadabras.
Oh, that's awesome.
We've been playing for a long time, so hopefully a couple of them stuck.
Kyle, you and Connor were in the ACBs.
Mm-hmm.
That still are.
Yeah, actually, Colin and Ross and Connor and I are all the ACBs.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And then Full Bloods as well. So there's just a lot of really great, you know, musicianship and a lot of years that have come into this band. One of the things that I love about this band, aside from the music, is the fact that, you know, the two of you are brothers, but all of you are best friends, and it comes out from everybody all the time. Not to say that there aren't things that pop up, you know, because we're all human, but just the sense that it's almost like friends first, music second. Oh,
absolutely. I mean, kind of sometimes the highlight of my week is just getting to go over to Kyle and Ross's place. They live together now, and just getting to go downstairs and in the dark basement and just, you know, kind of space out with my friends and play music. And it's all, I think Shy Boys, especially in the last couple of years, has developed and grown simply because we're just trying to get hangs together more than anything else. And to do that, we have to have an excuse to tell our significant others so we can get out of the house. And and that's music.
Yeah. The first record on High Dive, I get the sense that was more, you know, conceptually, you know, you were thinking of it as sort of a document of the fun that you were having and the music that you were making without really a whole lot of expectations what it might do for you in terms of career.
Yeah, when we started out, it was more or less a vanity project. I mean, it was just something that, like, just to get together as friends, you know. And at the time, Kyle and Connor and I lived at a house together, kind of that crappy little house on the block in a pretty okay neighborhood. And there were no expectations. We didn't know what we were doing. And it's just one of those things where our friends wanted to play a live show. So we played a live show. And then our friends wanted to hear a record. So we made a record. And here we are 6 years later, you know, on a major indie label, touring the country and making a real go of it. So.
Yeah, the Vanity Project gets written up in Pitchfork, Spin, and Stereo Gum. Were you guys going, what?
Yeah, no, we've lucked out so much. We've really just kind of, there's just always been open doors in front of us that we've been willing to walk through.
So, you know, let's go back to the house, okay? Because Bell House is named after that house that you were referencing. Mm-hmm. So I just wrote down some things about the house, because the house seems to be like a character, right, in your story. Hole in the kitchen floor. The weeds in the back were 6 feet tall. It had mice. It had trash. It had rats. It had possums. Is there anything that you'd like to add?
Fortunately, that's all true. Oh, yeah. Spiders. I mean, it was its own ecosystem, you could say, in that place.
At least it was biodiverse.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty cheap, and we paid our rent, you know, on time for the most part, and our landlord never bothered us, and
clearly,
yeah, I mean, it was a great situation for him because he got good money out of a place that he probably should have fixed a long time ago, and
yeah, I mean, he was great, you know, unless you wanted to fix that giant hole in the floor.
yeah. So, you know, the living room wasn't a living room. It was a stage.
Yeah.
And the gear never really got taken down unless you had to cannibalize it to go play a gig, right?
Pretty much.
We had, especially the early stages of the band, we had several shows there. And we started off with, you know, a couch and a TV and the traditional setup, but I think we moved it all out for one show and then it never came back. And really the couch actually just moved from room to room as through the years and got little to no use. It was just full of, you know, music equipment and bags of trash and just belongings of, you know, because we didn't throw anything away. We were pack rats. And
it's such a pretty picture. It wasn't just you that was doing shows at the house. The ACBs, Conquerors, Ghosty, all those bands.
Yeah.
A lot of local bands. Our cousin Casey Rausch, who's a local artist, also played one of the shows. Keef Mountain, Blood Shaman, Metatone. I mean, we had a bunch of good shows there for a minute, but kind of got to the point where there's too many people showing up for the shows, and we kind of had to just take it easy a little bit.
I was going to say, I'm sure your neighbors absolutely loved you guys.
Yeah, well, our direct neighbors loved us, but I actually have a piece of paper in my room still that I saved because one of our neighbors down the street, like, printed off a message from his printer and signed it saying, like, please do not park in front of my house, and put it on people's cars, like, you know, around. He never really liked us.
We did have a really great neighbor, though, on one side of us who had lived in that house all his life. So he'd seen the house we were in kind of develop over the decades. And he was really excited to tell us once he knew we were musicians that the band War, who did Lowrider,
wow,
whenever they would come into town, they would, like, crash at that house and, like, jam and have, like, these late night parties and stuff. So he thought it was super cool.
They broke in the neighborhood for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The house had lots of good stuff.
The crazy thing to me is that, you know, so you've got this first record and you've got these friends and you've got this sort of organic, wonderful experience going on, but there was like no money. And
there's still no money.
Yeah. But it was a dark period because you gotten written up in all these magazines, but offers hadn't come to follow that up. And at one point, finally, you guys all moved out of the Bell House. Mm-hmm. And at that point, it was almost like you were going to disband.
Well, we never really addressed it like, we're disbanding or anything. There just came a point where the hype died down and we were kind of back where we had started from, only with larger bills because we'd spent all our time on tour and not really paying those bills. And so we just kind of focused on, working and doing those other things just to make ends meet for a long time. And it was kind of a dark time just because we were all living together and not really wanting to make music because we had larger problems on our brains. But it's also a good time because we were able to develop a couple other projects musically. And I think being able to exercise those other ideas led us back to Shy Boys in the end. And we kind of came back with a fresh mind.
There's a lot more to talk about, but I know everybody would love to hear some music. Shy Boys live on the bridge.
Now that we've successfully hyped up the sound.
I dropped some food on the ground. You said how quickly your scarf fit down. Hey bud, are you getting fed? Eat it before you reload. Now comes home and see someone waiting. All his bad friends with food. We are waiting. There's an evil like you. That's pretty easy, money. What are you waiting for? Sing us the blues with. One night I'm leaving. You feel good enough to get to keep it going free. That's pretty easy, money. What are you waiting for? Sing us the blues with. One night I'm leaving. You feel good enough to get to keep it going free.
That was actually the first video that you put out.
Yeah.
Crowdsourced dog videos for that one.
Our, we're a kind of a new band with a label, so, trying to figure out how to best use resources. And they came up with this idea. It's like, hey, we're just going to shoot out this message on our social media about, like, hey, send us your dog videos, and which is brilliant because everybody has, if you have a dog, has like 600 videos of your dog on your phone, right? So we got a whole bunch of submissions, including some starring cameos by my own dog. So yeah, it was a pretty cool thing.
Very nice. So the studio that you've recorded both of your albums in, about a block away from the old Bell House. I'm assuming that going in and recording the second record was a little different than the first time around.
It wasn't really that different, honestly, because we were kind of back at the same place that we had started, as far as the trajectory of the band. And we were in the exact same control room, almost the exact same gear. We even brought in our good friend Mike Nolte, who recorded the first record, who lives in Portland. We brought him in to come back and do this record too. So it really felt kind of cozy and familiar. And a lot of our other projects, ACBs and Full Bloods, and a lot of friends have all recorded and tracked in West End. They're around the corner from Bell House. And so it's just like a really intimate, special, quiet place for us.
Mike, the engineer that you referred to, is actually the one that connected you with Polyvinyl.
Yeah. He's been a live sound engineer for several of Polyvinyl's acts, and so he records this album, and if he's stoked on it, he's like kind of passes it along to his buddies, and is like, hey, you guys should check this out, like on the tour bus or whatever. And we had some friends get stoked on it, and then they passed it on to the managers and the powers that be in Polyvinyl, who hit us up one day. It's like, hey, what are you guys doing? You guys got something cooking? And we just happened to have Bell House all ready to go. So it was just kind of serendipitous how everything lined up.
So this record, the offers that didn't come in the first time around, they're here. You all are touring madly, right?
Yeah, we're trying to. We spent a good deal the first part of the summer on the road, and then we'll be going back out in the fall and doing the West Coast and the East Coast and just, everything in between.
So quitting your day jobs?
I was forcibly asked to quit my day job. I don't know about that. I think we've all definitely had to take a step back from those types of commitments, which is put a little bit of a strain on things. But, we're not getting any younger, and this is the time to reach out and, do those crazy things like spend a month on the road.
So when you're forcibly asked to step away, in true artistic fashion, you use that as fodder. You and your wife and your dog moved into your mom's basement.
Yeah, that's a great segue. It's absolutely true.
Yeah. And it's that weird thing because you had just gotten married and, it's like that adult thing, but then you go home and you're confronted with your adolescence.
Yeah. It was a really strange time. I mean, I'm super blessed to have a good family who was willing to take care of us, and my mom was willing to take us in and provide a space for us while we kind of figured out what our long-term plans as a couple was. But it was really strange because, I could take Whitney, my wife, on a tour through the house and show her like, okay, that's where I spilled a glass of Pepsi when I was 9. And there's a patch. There's still a patched hole on the wall in the hallway where my brother and I, Kyle in the band, got in a fight, and I shoved him into it, and it left a big hole, and that's still there. And so I got, all these little signs that I was just a child. In fact, we slept in a room that had like a painting of me as a toddler.
That is a real turn on.
Yes. Yes, it was a very quiet year we spent together as a couple.
Oh man! So that came out in the song "Basement."
Yeah. It's just, I think there's some sort of, I don't know, I had to express that feeling in some way. And we just had a little track that I just had this thought in my head. It's kind of just this depressing mantra. It's like, I've got a wife, I've got a dog, but now I'm living in my mom's basement. And so I just kind of had that in my head, and eventually it got turned into a little song.
Yeah. Just the trappings of the extra attention that you've been getting. Kevin Morby, it seems like he discovered your band after he left town.
Well, I think he was, he liked the first record. At least we got word that he liked the first record. And, we reached out. He'd reached out a couple times and we talked. And especially since he moved back to the area, we've kind of developed more of a relationship, and he was willing to write like a really nice thing about the band leading up to the record, some insight on what we've been doing and what the new record, and so he's been a really great supporter of us, especially now. Yeah.
I also loved the unboxing video when the new album arrived. You just look it up, if you're listening or watching, just look it up, the unboxing video for Shy Boys.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun to do. It was really easy. I mean, all I had to do was act like I was opening up this box of new records that Polyvinyl had sent us.
Maybe we should give people a spoiler warning here.
Spoiler warning.
Yeah.
I get blasted in the face with a water hose whenever I open up that box. But it's funny because we have a picture of my brother underneath the shot with that hose just wet, super ready to just unleash the force of the water directly into my nose. And
that was
he
actually
was so happy about
that was
it.
actually my wife's comment when we watched the video last night. She goes, "He took that right in the nose."
Yeah, I did. I was sputtering for sure.
There are you have been sort of the principal songwriter for this project, but you've got a lot of songwriters in this band.
Yeah, it's intimidating, because have definitely looked up to Connor and Ross for years as excellent pop songwriters and being each other's bands. So we've definitely all rubbed off on each other. And when I bring a song to Shy Boys, it's great to have those resources, not from just Connor and Ross as songwriters, but the other guys too as excellent musicians. And it is a collaborative experience that's kind of unique, I think, in modern day bands.
Well, it's working. You've gotten a lot of attention from Kevin Cole over at KEXP in Seattle, which is a big music discovery station. And also Bob Boylan over at NPR Music, All Songs Considered. They've been big supporters of the band as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's been so weird to see, things that we check regularly, to update about new bands or artists that we might not know. And then, to see our name from those people, making personal tweets about our band or whatever. It's been really special.
Shy Boys in our studio. The new album is Bell House. It's brand new on polyvinyl. We'd love to have one more song if we could.
Okay. Tragic Loss. This is a song called Tragic Loss. Thank you.
Childhood was easy, a childhood free from no violence. Just listen to some of my bad dreams. Poppers were stuffed toys that folded into themselves and went into my legal night. Think of what a tragic loss. One scary evening, our hallway lit up with headlights. A car slowly drove past my bed. Think of what a tragic loss would have done to me. Think of what a tragic loss would have done to me. Safe and sound, I made it up when I was asleep. Think of what a tragic loss.
Shy Boys in our studio today here on the bridge. That was great. It's really a good record. You guys, I hope you're really super proud of this one.
Yeah, we definitely are. It was a long time coming, and it was worth the wait for us. Definitely.
So there are a bunch of videos online. There's the video for Take the Doggie, but also one for Evil Sin that you can find really quite easily. That actually is inspired by Philip K. Dick, the sci-fi writer.
Our favorite, for
Yeah,
sure.
and if you want to follow along the book that it's sort of based on, the Three Stigmata of Palmer Eldritch, if you want a richer experience.
Ooh, yes. dig
Read the
in.
whole book for the
Please
3-minute video.
Yes, and then send us a message discussing, because we'd love to nerd out with you.
All right. So much is going on right now with the Shy Boys. We have absolutely loved having you in. And I can only imagine what it's like to open for bands like Fleet Foxes.
Yeah, it's we've been lucky to find ourselves on bills with fans we've been big fans of for a long time. It's been surreal.
Well, congratulations. Get out there and work. We'll help spread the word in any way we can. The Shy Boys, the new album Bell House on polyvinyl. Thanks so much for coming in
Thank
today.
you so much for having us.
Thanks, yeah.